Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surs. This is week 5 of Sunstrike reveals, I believe. We're getting pretty close to getting all of it. Like we probably only have like 1 or 2 more weeks left um of reveals. We might be going into, I think I heard something about us going into Stardeck reveals. I didn't end up watching the actual video this week. So we're just going over the cards. We're just going over the cool cards. So let's get into it. So first up, we finally got the Boltuga to go with Visufutuga. Um, your Hephaestus, it's a 3/4, 1 Earth. Your Hephaestus effects can also find fire counter runes. So it can find chains, and there's the new Eruption is also a fire counter rune. You can disenchant a fire from your field in order to special ascend this Boltuga to Visufutuga from your hand or deck. That is an extremely easy ascension condition, so that's really good to see. Yeah, that's just super easy to accomplish. Like, just have Hephaestus anywhere, just have any other fire guy on the field, any fire artifact. Like, it's incredibly simple to achieve this. So this will probably be pretty good. And like Visufutuga to go over again is just enchant a fire from your field to search for an eruption or a champion of Hephaestus. And when you cast an artifact rune, you can enchant up to 2 fires from your underworld to anywhere on the field. Maybe worth using multiple times. So yeah, that's pretty good. Lavalith. I'm pretty sure this was not revealed at the time of our last video. I believe it was actually revealed the day that I put out the video. But the new Lavalith, Champion of Hephaestus, it can be normal cast with double fire if your Hephaestus is enchanted. When a player empowers this Lavalith with an artifact rune, you can target and destroy a face down rune. So it fixes the issue of not hitting hitting the divines. So that's solid. That's solid, smart stuff going on there. And like if you have Hephaestus, you have the ability to get an artifact rune. So the stat line isn't really going to be an issue because you'll be able to pretty easily get an artifact rune on it. And the artifact rune, you like you're basically going, okay, this can be like a cheaper thunderstorm, right? But it's also buffing up my Lavalith and doing whatever else the artifact does. Um, so that's pretty good. You can dip into this multiple times if you have multiple artifacts to clear out a bunch of back row, which is also really strong. So this is pretty good. I think among the Lith champions that we've gotten so far, this is probably the second best, behind Aviolith. And I think this is pretty high potential. And this helps like the normal cast count in the Hephaestus deck. Um, it asks for you to be running a heavier Hephaestus count than previous versions of that deck have run. Um, but it does like significantly increase like your good normal cast count as this Boltuga. So that's a good place. That's a good place for the deck to be. Um, Bumblebee, I think we talked about last week. It just on cast searches for a reforge. I don't think this is going to be good enough. Infornax is a 5/6. You can expend fire or wind in order to draw a card for each artifact rune in your rune row. You double all attack and defense buffs given by your fire or wind artifact runes, empowering this Infornax. I don't think this is very good. I don't think this is an effect worth going into an Ascension for, especially one that doesn't have a turbo line. Yeah, I don't think this is actually very good. And then we have Corvusmith. Corvusmith's pretty cool. So this is a Nexus form of Corvus Shrine and Corvus Skull. It's a 2/4. You can target a fire artifact rune in your underworld and put it on the bottom of your deck. If you do, an opponent expends spirits equal to the enchantment cost of the card you put back. So this is good to keep your artifacts in rotation for Argo and Hephaestus. So that's really good. I'm not sure the stat line is good enough, but we can shore that up with artifacts as well. So it might be fine. But this is a cool card. I'm not sure it's good enough to make the cut though. Burn effect can be a bit scary, I guess, but it does take some setup to get there, and it can get suppressed and thus not do the burn. Like it's fine. You can't just like dump. It's not like Eruption. You can't just dump like 3 eruptions on your opponent's face. All right. We still have this slot between Water and Thunder, and we have these 2 slots on Earth, who probably can't be Demeter, unless we're just completely changing the rules. But this, I feel like this is going to be Arclith Zeus. What else do we got? Thunderstun. We still have all this wind stuff to get, but we got the penguins. We finally got the penguins. So these are the champions of Hera penguins. First we have Snow Waddle. This is a 3/4. A lot of that 3/4 stat line in this set. You can special send this Snow Waddle to an Elestral with enchantment cost Frost or Thunder from your hand or from your underworld if you also discard a card. So this like Turbo Ascend, but like you need to be able to find your way to a copy of it in your hand or in your underworld, which might be a bit difficult. I'm not sure. It could be good enough, but like it's not super impressive on face. I kind of like just want to build around Signectric than this on face. Penguwatt is a 6/6. You can return a Thunder from your field to your Spirit deck in order to search your deck for a Frost or Thunder Avian Elestral, and as your hand, special send this Penguwatt to an Avian Elestral from your hand that is not Penguwatt. So this could be used to turbo into original Imperawatt, which could be good. I'm not sure about using it to ascend into the new one. This new one is when you cast this Imperawatt, you can enchant up to 3 Thunders from your underworld to your Hera. When this Imperawatt enters battle, you can nexus up to 3 Thunder to it. During the end phase, you can draw a card and nexus up to 3 Thunder from this Imperawatt. I am really not impressed by this card, to be honest. I don't think this is particularly impressive. Yeah, I'm not impressed by the penguins. I was hoping there would be like something like some like powerful direction for the deck to go in, but I just don't really see it. I think the avian search is pretty strong. It's a vector of searching that we didn't have access to before, but it's locked onto an ascension that doesn't have a turbo from deck option. So it's not great in that avenue. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing this one. I don't see it being very good. It does seem like the best line for Hera is going to be focusing in on Signectric, because that Signectric is quite powerful. Being a pseudo counter rune on a stick, while also clearing out your opponent's back row, and the Hera stuff letting it get big enough to be a threat, is like, I feel like that's everything we really need. So I'm not super impressed by these penguins, which is unfortunate. I would really like to see the Imperial line be good this time, but I just don't think these are it. Okay, Ares stuff. So we got the remaining Ares cards. So Nebuleo. This is a 3/2 1-drop. You can Nexus a Solar. When you do, search your deck for a Champion of Ares and add to your hand. So on Battlegrounds, this will allow it to become an instant like 5/4 by nexusing over to the Battlegrounds. That's pretty good. I also like this from the avenue of it does a lot for Dragolis, because it allows you to go, okay, I can now if Nebuleo survives the turn, I can then go, okay, I'm going to Nexus to Nebuleo, and now it's 2 spirits on it. I will search for Dragolis, and then I will send to Dragolis. And there's another avenue by which that will be enabled, because there is a special cast mechanism for Nebuleo that we can be potentially using, and that could allow us to 1 turn. We'll get to it. But yeah, that's something to bear in mind. I think this lines up with Dragolis really well. I don't think Celestial is super well worth using with this. Because I just don't think Celestial is as good as Dragolis. I think Dragolis is just a way better 3-drop. Like the removal effect is just way better. Like also Celestial has big aggro going for it, sure, and like it has the shield protection, but like it's still just going to like I don't know. I don't know. I just don't really care for it. I don't think it's that great. And still loses to Ouroboros anyways. Okay. Let's talk about the Leo Bright. So Leo Bright is a 6/4. You can Nexus a Solar. When a Stadium Rune or Artifact Rune receives Solar this way, you can target and destroy a face down rune. This is a pretty good 2-drop. This is a pretty good 2-drop. This just lets you clear out back row, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. Not bad at all. We got Helolith. As expected, that's what was here. It's a 4/4. And you can normal cast it if Ares is enchanted. And when you cast this Helolith, you can cast an Armament of Ares from your deck, empowering this Helolith. So this Helolith will always be like a minimum of 6, because we did get the other Armament, and that will put up to a 6, at least offensively. So it's going to be hitting the numbers it needs to. The spirit spend on this is a bit much, but getting the armament from the deck is pretty good. Gets you Nexus Banks. I don't know. It could be really solid. It could be really solid. I can kind of see it with this card. But given that it's in artifact deck, it does have to contest with original Helioth, but it is also searchable by the Nebuleo, so maybe that's something. I don't know. I could really easily see this being good enough, but I could also see it not being good enough. It's in that weird zone. So Ruminous. So when we talked about Lumaru, I mentioned that the Lumaru is like really good at getting some good value on its own when you spent your Ruminous, and that even with just the original Ruminous, that's effectively a 7 for vanilla, it would probably still be good enough. That special ascension effect would probably still be good enough. Um, but Champions of Ares Ruminous is incredible. So this is a 7/5, so better stat line already. And you can disenchant a solar from this Ruminous, which you can easily achieve via Battlegrounds because you'll be able to enchant an extra to it, or by nexusing to it with the Lumaru effect. And in order to search your deck for a solar rune and add to your hand, any solar rune, any solar rune. So let's look at that list. All right, so Temple, of course. No, we're not going to be using that in this deck. First Light, that can be nice sometimes. Polo, we're in Ares, right? Guardian of the Fleece. This is one of the ones I really want to talk about. Guardian of the Fleece is an incredibly powerful card from Daybreak that hasn't had a good deck to enable it. It is double solar counter rune. It can only be played when an opponent activates a card effect that targets an artifact rune or empowered Elestral on your field. Negate that effect, then destroy a card on your field. Now, because of all the non-targeting in this game, there's a lot of ways to circumvent this, which has always been part of the problem. And you need to run a good number of it to be able to see it reliably. However, with Ruminous, you can just run this as a one-of. You can just run this as a searchable one-of. You search it out. Your opponent knows you have it. You set it and go, okay, target me. Target me, and I will blow you out. Which is really, really good stuff. That's really good. Like, that's Gorgon's installation, that's Earthquake installation, that's Laurel's installation. There's a lot of stuff that gives you a lot of security into. So it's very, very, very powerful. Again, for the post-Moth environment, I don't think this will be too good into the Moth environment because a Moth player will just go, okay, I'm going to run out Pegas, I'm going to enchant Pegas a billion times, and first I'm going to blow up the Guardian, all your face down runes, and then I'm going to blow up your artifacts. But yeah, that's quite good. That is quite good. Of course, we have the armaments. We have reinforcements, which we'll get to in a sec. We have Guardian of Light. Guardian of Light is another really good search target. That's just an attack negate that heals us for 1 that we can like ensure we'll have access to. That's really good. Solar Burst is limited to 1, and we can just search it. It doesn't have as high reliability in our deck as it does in Apollo, but still like largely going to be a useful card. So it is still quite good, especially when it's searchable. Liar could be useful, especially since we are an artifact deck anyways. It could be used offensively. Breeze is maybe something to consider. It allows us to do Nexus stuff, and it's a combat trick, and combat tricks can be quite strong in this game. Yeah, there's a lot of really strong things we can be searching with this, even outside of the area specific stuff, and the area specific stuff is already like some pretty great search targets as well. So this first effect is quite good, and it has a second effect. You can disenchant a solar from your Stadium Rune or Artifact Rune in order to change the position of an Elestral. So you'll basically always be able to beat over whatever your opponent's presenting, right? So that's really, really good. This is a fantastic Ascension. Really good card. Really good. Yeah, that's incredible. Ruminous is so good. Like, this is probably like the Ascension I would be focusing on. Probably 2 copies of it because it's that good. Lumer is just a good card. Like, yeah, this is really solid. And like Dragolis as like a top end that Nebuleo can help us get into. All right. Oh, there's the new Lunar guy. Okay. Formalord. This card's really good. Okay, so this is a new Lunar Elestral. This tells us we're getting no Earth runes, by the way, because this is slot 85. This Vermilord gets +1 attack for each lunar enchanting it. So, two big things this card does. One, it's basically an inherent 5 outside of Spectaris, which is nice. But also, one of the most prominent things that Lunar has access to as its own strategy is the Temple of the Moon full moon stuff, where you use full moon as a combat trick. And this card's super nice because it's just an Elestral that if you don't have Temple, it's still doing that stuff. But if you do have Temple, it lets you double up on it. Like, that's really strong. Like, if you full moon onto this with Temple out, it becomes what? It becomes a... Oh, fuck. 10? 10-4? Becomes a 10-4? Like, it gets huge. It gets huge. And then when it dies by battle while it's in attack position, you can enchant up to 3 solar from your underworld to your field. So you'll need something else on the board for this. But this is an effect that synergizes with Rise, right? Because we die in battle, and then we bring it back with Rise, and it's present on our field again, and ready to do that again. If we have a Temple out, as we'll be aiming to do in a deck like this, we slam them on Temple, and then we siphon them off for runes. We can, like, if we establish a Doppelganger, we can put them on Doppelganger and go, your shit is like -5. Yeah, this the one thing is that because casts that happen by a card effect will actually go on the chain after that card. If you rise this, you cannot enchant the spirits to itself because Vermilord will not be back on the field in time. Which kind of sucks. That's kind of unfortunate. It would be really, really, really sick if we could rise this back and just put them on it, and now it's immediately an 8 attack. That would be really awesome, but that's not a line available to us. But it still has pretty good synergy with Rise, which is great. Like, Lunar's really, really getting there. Like, Lunar's problem for a long time has been that they don't have enough good 1-drops. And one of those 1-drops is Nobby, who sucks into Solar in the Mirror. But in this set, we have Hypnosm maybe ends up being good enough. If like it enables Ectoplasm well enough, it's gonna be good enough. Now I really hope that's the case. Then the ones we know for sure are good enough are Ouroboros is really good, and Vermilord is also really good, and they both really help enable this existing strategy within Lunar that has the most legs. Yeah, these are really, really nice cards. In the post Moth environment, I expect these to be quite good. Then we have a new artifact rune for Hephaestus, Tongs of Hephaestus. It is a triple fire artifact rune, which is cool in that it allows Reforged to actually be Ambrosia by getting this back in Healing 3. You can only empower a fire Elestral with it. The empowered Elestral gets +4 attack and +2 defense. And when it destroys an Elestral in battle, you can discard a card in order to target and destroy a card. Very, very powerful Argo target. Very expensive, but very powerful because it's giving you similar ups to Necklace, while also having a defensive side. And then when you win the battle, you get to pop something else, which is back-breaking. Otherwise, I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of this card. I think it's really high investment, but like, I think in a Hephaestus deck, you do run one of it because of how powerful you can make it via Argo. That Argo line is like really, 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 really powerful. Of course, if you're just getting it, like if you're just getting it off a Heal 3 with Volcaries' effect, that's also really good because we're getting Volcaries to like an 8-4. And that's pretty strong as well. Threatening a pop, and then you can do discard shenanigans, but that's probably not going to be in the same deck. So it's just ultimately probably going to be a cost in this case, but that's fine. That's fine because you're getting something really, really powerful out of it. But I don't think it's more than one of. I think you just like when you have full carry set up, you just use Hephaestus to search it and get out that way, and then you can also get it with Argo. Gives some more merit to Reforge for sure, because like being able to recur a card like this for repeated use via Argo and Volcaries is nice as well. I don't think you would run more than one of this. It's powerful enough for that use case, but like I don't think it's more than one of. And then we have the new Eruption. Eruption, Hephaestus' Jealousy. So first up, this is a counter rune. And being a counter rune means that this can trigger original what the hell is it called? Smoltuga's Ascension. Krakatuga. You can trigger Krakatuga's pop at counter speed, which is already very powerful. This is a free timing card as well. So that's really good. Then you enchant, it's 1 fire to cast. You enchant a fire to your field and a fire to an opponent's field. Until the next turn, your opponents cannot play runes using fires from their field. So it's going to be difficult for your opponent to get that off the board. Like, the only real way would be like, okay, like you could alter it to something else. That would be a way. And anything that encourages alter play is good by me. But this is and then during the end phase, you can destroy each fire enchanted card that is not a fire card. So that's really strong. Vesuvatuga, of course, can enchant 2 fires to either player's field, and thus can put it on up to 2 more things. And then this is a pop 3 cards for 3 spirits. That could end up being too much. That could end up being too much because being a counter rune is like, that's difficult to stop. This could end up being a bit much. It's probably a bit slow to resolve the moth problem. Especially because like they can just like P-gust your back row. And then you're like, okay, whatever. You don't have back row anymore. You always have to set this for a turn. So it's probably never getting to activate. And like if Moth has already been established for a turn, then like they're gonna have an opportunity to go for a new Moth. So like that's real scary, and they're gonna get value out of this and yada yada yada. This in a post Moth environment, I expect this to be quite strong. This is a pretty powerful card. Like, it's powerful independently, and then when combined with either Champ Vesuvatuga or original Krakatuga, it becomes even stronger. So this is a really potent card. This is really good. And of course, we can just search this with Vesuvatuga as well. Like, Vesuvatuga enables it to pop 3 while also searching for it, so that's really, really strong. We got some more Ares runes. By the way, we are completely out on runes. There are no more runes in the set. So, Armament of Ares, Sword of Vitality. This is the second Armament of Ares. We're just getting 2 and 2 for these. So, Armament of Ares, Sword of Vitality is 2 solar. The Empowered Elestral gets +1 attack. When this Armament of Ares receives 1 or more solar, you can give the Empowered Elestral +2 attack until the next turn, and you may return a solar from your underworld to your spirit deck. This is effectively a 1 cost, and it gives +3 for the turn. It's pretty powerful with Argo as well. And it's just like hitting that good benchmark of like a good amount of attack buff for pretty cheap. And being double solar like does like there is like some stuff that like getting that many spirits on the board can be useful for some other stuff, and just like the healing is nice as well. You can like trot that multiple times with all the Nexus effects that we have access to in the Ares deck. It's quite nice. I like this card a lot. Yeah, this is a pretty nice card. Then the second Colosseum is Colosseum of Ares the Armory. It's 1 solar. When a champion of Ares enters battle, its controller can nexus up to 2 solar. So the really powerful thing about this card is that since that's when it enters battle, you can go, okay, I have like 2 or 3 champions of Ares on my board. I swing with my first one, I nexus 2 to it. I swing with the next one, then I nexus the 2 over to that one. And thus, by doing that, you can increase your damage output by an absurd amount, by an absolutely insane amount of extra damage. So that's really, really strong. When an enchanted solar artifact is sent from the field to the underworld, its owner can return it from the underworld to your hand. So you get to keep using your artifacts. However, we could just run Reforce to do this, so I'm not sure this effect is that useful. And that's ultimately where I am with this card. Is it does some cool stuff, However, I think Battlegrounds is just way stronger. Like Battlegrounds getting more spirits onto your field for your Nexusing, while giving you the buffs that make your Champions of Ares into real threats is just way, way, way better. And I have a very hard time seeing myself actually running Armory when it could be another Battlegrounds. And then we have Reinforcement of Ares. So this is like the signature spell. We have just changed how we're naming these. It might be because of the Hera searcher that Crackle is, right? Because like what was said is that needs to see the proper word with no modifications. So okay, we're gonna retire the Zeuses, the Poseidons, etc., etc. Because this wording works with those, and if we ever want to have a search effect of that type in these archetypes in the future, we want to have them be prepared for it, yada yada. And that makes enough sense. So you pay 2 solar. It is a counter rune. You special cast a Champion of Ares from your hand using only spirits enchanting your Colosseums or your armaments. That's really strong. This is a counter rune, so it's always going to be a turn delayed. There's not really anything that we really particularly value from fielding on our opponent's turn. Like we can use that to protect our life, which is appreciated. That's appreciated for sure. But like there's no particularly powerful interaction we can do. Yeah, I'm just looking through them again, double check. Yeah, there's no like interaction piece on an on cast or on receive in the archetype. So there's nothing to really be done in that way with the card. So like it being a counter rune is like largely a drawback. I think that's an understandable drawback. These sorts of special cast effects have been extremely powerful. One of the best things you can do with this is if you manage to get set for a turn and we get back to our turn, we go special cast out Nebulio, so we only need 1 spirit off our stadium or artifacts to do that, which is nice. And then we can go Nebulio, Nexus, search for Dragalis or search for Celestial and ascend into them. So that's a turbo line that we have available. It will require us to set Reinforcement of Ares for a turn, but that's a turbo line available, and of course we'll be able to search it with the Ruminous. Ruminous is very, very, very good. Ruminous is really strong, really good card. So I think Ares is in a really, really solid position. I really like how it came together. It had like every single one of its normal casts feels good. They're all able to hit good numbers thanks to Battlegrounds, which like really makes Battlegrounds really important. And then you add in artifacts in there hitting even better numbers. Ruminous is really good and has a good turbo line. And Dragalis is a really nice top end that we can like just one of and get to via Nebulio. So that's really, really good stuff just across the board. Great cards. Reinforcements feels really important because it enables us to get multiple bodies on the field and thus actually threaten a lot of opposing boards and actually be a real threat. It's a bit slower than other swarming options, but it's able to do is overall more powerful. So it all works out. Yeah, this Ares came together quite nicely. So let's quickly, before we call it for the day, let's look over the remaining slots. So we have these 2 Earth slots. These are unlikely to be champions of Demeter. They have been fucking around with the ordering rules, with the list specifically, much to my chagrin. But like we already have Champ Demeter for the lift, and none of those have like broken the define ordering rules, so I don't think that's going to change much. So I don't expect these to be Champ Demeters. It could be like non-champs. It could be champs for someone else. Of note, there are 3 divines that currently do not have any champs in this set yet, unless I'm forgetting someone, but I don't think I am. It's Demeter, Zeus, and Apollo. So like there's no Earth Solar line But like, I still wouldn't be surprised if these two slots were Apollo support, because Tornadian didn't end up being that. Surely there's Apollo stuff somewhere in this set, right? um, then down here we have the slot between Water and Thunder. I'm still pretty sure this is going to be a Champion of Zeus Architect. That fits really cleanly into that slot. Then we have 5 Wind or Frost Elestrals. If it's Frost, it has to be pre-Hera Divines. So that would be both Earth Divines, both Fire Divines, um, both Water Divines, and Zeus, right? Could be any of those 7 Divines. If it's Frost, and then post AOS champs, or just like non-champ Elestrals. So like we could see like we do know, for example, we do know that there's a Cyclovenom Hermes line in here. So that's probably 52, 53. I wouldn't be surprised to see Demeter in here. Like, for example, we could do like a champ Cedarsaur line. Although I think those are actually categorized in Earth, so no, it wouldn't be that. But yeah, it could be champ. There could be something for champ Demeter. Apollo is unlikely unless it's in wind, and I think if they were going to put something in wind, it would be Tornadian. So I'm not expecting that at all. But there's a lot of slots here. This could be like all wind, and it could be like the Cyclovenom stuff and like Panther. That's something that could be. But we are narrowing these down, but like there is still quite a bit to be seen there. And then in Lunar, we have the Hypnosum still. Could be a one stage that in the Veil, but otherwise we have 3 slots still in Lunar. So yeah. This could be another Champion of Artemis. This could be Necrolith. This could be Necrolith. This could end up being Necrolith. But after this, they can't be champs anymore. And this could only be a champ of Artemis because Artemis is at the very back of the champ ordering. And then of course we are completely done on runes. We are not getting any more runes in this set. No new Dionysus card for Pulveror to be accessing, which is a bit unfortunate. But it is what it is. The Dionysus cards as is are already really, really good targets anyway, so we're fine there. And yeah, that's going to be it for me this week. This is Hunter Search, signing off.